Hey, what's up, guys? So, as you can see, I got back at least into M3, and it looks like I was ranked 12. So, I guess that's in the top third if you're looking at 32 or close to the top third. So, let's just take a look at 2 1. You got Luma, then these are the guys with 4 wins: King Reaper, Johnny Bracco, Kevin, Kel, and Darth Beta. Darth Beta did really well. So, Darth Beta is at level 104, and he's right around where I'm at. He's 182, but he's a little bit stronger with STP. Then the guys got 3 wins, and so G-Man, Scopeless, Trash, Alpha Tide. I'm like right in the middle of that pack, so I guess basically in the middle of the 3 wins. And then the guys got 2 wins. Also Diamond Dave, okay, he's in there. Darth Baber, and the guys got 1 win, and then Johnny Utah, he came in last. So he's 105. I wonder how he did though at 105. 221 mil, 7.5 mil STP. He didn't, I don't think it looks like he missed some battles, because his scores looks like he missed like 2 maybe. Okay, and so this is Darth Baber. This is the guy that was streaming with Mookie, so he's 102. So I got those guys confused for a minute there. So now my ranking is at 132. So I'm getting close to the top 100. You can see if I can get back in there. Well, how long it'll take. I shouldn't say how soon, but how long will it take? These are the guys that are slightly above me. And Darth Baber, he's 106. Most Def Isley, okay. He's just right outside the 100. Jex is right inside, and then Commander Jin. Agent Everett, Barmat. I think that was a good match we had, me and Barmat. And Darth Ursula. Darth, oh wow, he's 82. It's pretty cool. So Mr. Kennedy, Evan, Howie, Finn Raven, my Alliance Bait. We actually share a room on War Defense. And Drunken Monkey. Agent 23, Bloody 9. Wow, it's a lot of guys. We all kind of got knocked out of the 100 guys that used to be there. Mobile Gamer, 153. Okay, that's not too bad. Maybe we'll get a chance to get matched up. That'd be pretty cool. And I don't recognize these names. Oh, Mookie. Mookie's 168. And so I think that's about it. Go down a little bit more. So then in the top 100, Law is holding on to 1. Oh, wow. He's got actually quite a bit of points over Scar. So we'll see how that pans out. Killshot is 4. Johnny Myth. King Reaper. Nick is I. Johnny 0. Praetorian. And still below Beta, all in the top 10. Say Hank, G-Man, Gandorf, Apocalypse, Duster Cloud, OG Diamond Dave coming in at 19. And we got Chaos Agent 0 in the top 25. Big Womp Thing. Pat Dim right at the 25. Okay. Young Swole. Definitely remember going against him. So he's a top 28. Stocky 187, one above Ceci. Man, all these guys right back in there. It's going to be tough. Oh, wow. Nemesis is at 34. Updog, 35. Darth Beta, 37. Man, nice job. Jex Hybrid Master, 38. He's really up there. Miss Shores, Lancaster, Luma, Johnny Bracco. Man, look at all the names. All these guys that are usually there. 134, Phoenix Doradiki, right at 50. So this is going to be interesting. We got a lot of guys. Zoboy Fresh, 58. L. Johnny, Happy Feet. Dorky, 62. Far Strider. Ironing Man. Commander Trey. Scopely is trash. Yeah, we got a lot of guys here AKJ, Alt 88, Raven, DNA level C23. So it's stacked with a lot of guys usually there, and we got some new guys in there. That's congrats on Darth Ursula getting in there in the top 100. He's pretty solid in there. And so 204, I just got back in, so it would take quite a few wins if I'm going 2-1 to get to Grandmasters, but that could be maybe 3 weeks. I don't know that I can just jump in there and get a 3-0, and of course you hope to not get a 0-3. So we'll see how this new season goes. But that's what this is mostly about, guys. Just get in. We're going to take a look at the rooms. I don't think they're set yet. Yeah, we still have just the 3. So we'll just work with this. I don't know. I guess the reset will be tomorrow. But I'll go in and we'll kind of chat about the rooms a bit and kind of see how that goes, or what we can try to think about doing there, and mostly what my plan might be going in. So I just want to start off by saying I'm pretty happy about getting the 6 rooms back and getting back to normal. Leaderboard seems to be fixed, and I know there are some videos starting off that are talking about maybe just 2 rooms or even 3 rooms that'll be useful. That's pretty much the norm, and I think as you're watching different videos, you're looking for a balance. But I think overall, if you can put some standard defenses out there in the first week that are somewhat tough to beat, take some of the counters we know about, and then as a week or 2 goes by, then you can make adjustments. I think that's a strong way to go, because what you want to do, or what I'm thinking to do, is to still have a strong enough offense so that I can counter, have a chance to win as we start seeing how this thing unfolds, meaning season 12 or meaning season 13. And just starting with room 1 here, I mean, you're seeing it's called Hunting Sense Striker, and that's strikers. On successful attack, apply bleed, raiders, and skirm. If target has bleed, perform an ISO attack. So let's take a look at some of the rooms, or some of the concepts that I would use with this in mind. I do want to start off by saying that I did watch Dorky's video, and I have been looking at Updog's infograph, and I'll be referencing those 2 guys quite a bit until we get more videos in, like Juicy, Desir, Doolum, and those guys have much bigger followings, so you'll see a lot of people doing the defenses that they suggest. So part of this, what I'm trying to do here, is to show you how you can get some different ideas, or you can take parts of what you see in those videos and tweak it just a little bit so that you can have something a little bit different, unique, because ultimately I think you want your opponent to go against something that's not familiar or slightly unfamiliar, so that he doesn't feel like he can just go in and just use the same old counters and find a way to make it work. So after watching Dorky's video and taking a look at Updog's infographic, they both have suggested basically Illuminati Sasquatch. Updog does a version without Odin because he wants to, for guys that don't have Odin yet, show that that's a possibility that this team could work well in this room. And I do think Illuminati will work well with Sasquatch, and even better with Odin. I just think because of the room rules, and as Dorky pointed out, the counters will probably work to one-shot either version. If not, then it would take a sack, and then it would be beaten pretty much like I think we've been doing in the past. And so when you look at some of their other options, doing the Mighty Avengers, I think Dorky said, with the Morgan and Quicksilver version, and I think Updog said Orcus, but I think at the end of the day, maybe one or both of them said Superior 6. And for me, I'm going to go ahead and shake things up and do Superior 6. Normally, I like Superior 6 on offense, but I think this first week I'm going to try them out on defense, mostly because I think this room 1 is going to have guys going in with the Illuminati Sasquatch, Illuminati Zugs, Illuminati with Odin, or some variation thereof, and this may be seen less. And I think guys may not be as prepared for this in room 1 as probably we'll see most I think other content creators using this as a last option of their recommendations. And so I do think Superior 6 is still strong enough to be a very good defense to shake things up. And so that's my hope, is that they will add a balance to shaking things up for my overall defense. And that's why I want to put them in room 1. So with stage 2, as you can see here, is Spec Ops. On successful dodge, gain stealth. Characters with stealth gain 20% damage. And I think the general consensus is that this room is not too much of a room to make use of. I remember Updog saying that in the stream yesterday, and Dorky mentioned it today. And I was pretty sure we had a couple times before. Updog said we may have had this 4 or 5 times before. And so I think that's their feeling on it. As I've been thinking about it, and one of the guys mentioned in chat maybe using Night Stalkers. It could have, I think it was a different room. But it got me to thinking how it could be, they may do well in this room. Now, I'm going to keep Night Stalkers on offense, so I'm just throwing it out there. This is just a thought as we're going to move into what I'm going to put in my room too. But I think Night Stalkers has a lot of potential on defense. We were talking about the Morgan Le Fay and how she would have that synergy with Agatha. I can see Emma X being really good with them. And then you can probably come up with some other ideas on how you can make this team really good on defense. But that's an option, and just keeping in mind the tunes that can go stealth that are new stat tunes. I think you can get some use out of that in this room, and not just let it be a room that you don't feel like you can do anything with. So basically what you see here is I really do like Updog's idea of running the Astro team in room 2. And as I thought about it, I said, well, we're looking at the rules for stealth to play a small part in what the Astro team can do. But basically, we still want to find a way to get Shadow King to ult early. And so we've done different things like with Noir and some other tunes. I thought about Big Time. And in the past, we've used Big Time so often to get by tanks and clear the taunt. I don't think we're going to need them as much this season. We may later on, but not, I think, in the beginning because of the way the rooms are going to be set up with the counters we're going to use on them. And so Big Time gets his speed up. It's not dependent on anything but him. And I thought that was a good way to get this started so that he could go fast, he could go early, and then he would get Shadow King going. And that's something I don't think most guys have seen, in addition to Big Time being able to go stealth. And so it just brings a different dynamic to this room. Just something to say, hey, think about this, and maybe it trips them up enough to where their efficiency is not so great, or they slip up and I actually get a hold. So this is my first thought for a team in room 2. Stage 3 is going to be an important room, and this is where I'll probably take some even more chances with my defense, being first week. But you see here, special abilities cost 2 more ability energy. Ultimate abilities cost 2 less ability energy. When an enemy character dies, allied characters gain 1 ability energy. So you guys get the idea from just this last couple weeks. And we've had this room before, and we've been able to make good use of it. With what we have as new tunes and Crucible teams, I think we'll see some interesting things in this room. And I just want to start off with Updog is suggesting here. And he's talking about having Kahori, the Absolute A-Force trio, along with Pav and Thanos as a number 1 option. I definitely think that's going to be a really good team to put in here. I think both Updog and Dorky have suggested like a type of scroll team to go in here with Annihilators and still using Kahori. They both have talked about using the Illuminati. I think for Dorky, he was saying with Odin, and then of course Updog likes to show his infograph for people that don't have Odin, so he was talking about the Sasquatch version with the 4-piece. I think all of these ideas are really great. For me, I'm going to lean more towards having Kahori on offense, so there could be some options with taking those ideas if you want to kind of play it safe and have Corey on offense. If you want to be risky, I think those are some really good teams to put together to have Kahori on defense. I think the main thing is you have to keep in mind your offensive style and how you like to go about trying to clear rooms if you're trying to one shot or if you're going to rely more on your defense. So near the end of season 12 is I think when I first saw a variation of the Illuminati or Odinati, and they had a Weaver in there, and I said, wow, hadn't thought about that. I never tried it, and I didn't actually go against it, but I helped a couple guys go against it. And it can be tough, especially if you're punching up. So keep that in mind that if you're like a 100, level 101, and you're going against like 105s, that defense is really pretty tough. I'm not suggesting you run this defense here. My thought is that Pav is going to be crucial in this room. It goes back to the two ultimate abilities less, and he would really set teams off. He put them in motion. Now, this entire team is already fast, but I think what happens here is I'm going to take a risk and throw Pav in there because it can kind of upset the balance on, I think, how this is going to work. And of course, he gives all the heroes offense up. And I think with that added touch, and you run the ISOs for safety, meaning Fortifier on Odin, Fortifier on Captain Britain, and then Healer on Hank. I think you can play around with Shuri and Pav. And at the moment, I'm thinking Pav as a raider, but I might make Pav a striker for this particular defense. But overall, it's just trying to take advantage of the room rules. Dorky made a good point. I liked it, and how a lot of times the counters that work is because Odin does not get his battlefield effect up. And so since his special would take a bit longer, he would start basicing. And I've done that in basically an arena, and that can win you the arena. And sometimes you don't even use Odin's special. So I'm interested to see how this will go, especially with the offense up, and how this, if it can actually hold, or if guys come in for their one shot, if it drags down the efficiency really bad. So this is my first thoughts on room 3. Now with stage 4, I think you can really be creative here if you want to. So stage 4, all characters on death, all allies gain offense up and apply trauma to all enemies. And so I just want to start with Updog's idea here because I think it's something that has potential. We'd have to see how it would play out. But he's thinking about the Undying with Mephisto. And there is potential with that. Also, he's saying to use the Orcus. And this is where he's going with like that Mighty Avengers, Quicksilver, Morgan defense. Now, Dorky has some similar concepts. I think he's talking about really going into this room with the Orcus. And I think he's talking about using the new school Emma. And I think he's exactly right. That will trip some guys up. That's going to be a tricky defense. Overall, I think both guys are suggesting Orcus. And so you can see how Orcus can have some value here. I can see guys still going with Orcus and like a Noir, Orcus and the Mysterio. And just ways to try to make Orcus decent in this room. But the Emma version, that's definitely going to be tricky. So that's something to keep in mind if you can afford to put your Emma X in like a solo tune or plug and play. So running Orcus Mephisto is nothing new. My hope is that most guys won't be thinking to run Orcus Mephisto. They'll be looking at the other options like Dorky said with the Emma X or Mysterio or Noir or Doom or even Ultron. I mean, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I don't think most guys are thinking to put Mephisto in this room with Orcus. Like I said earlier, I think Updog's idea is unique and it could really cause guys to scratch their head. Mephisto with Undying. And that's when I thought, well, hey, maybe just go back with Orcus Mephisto. And so it's just really something simple. It's not to really throw guys off in this sense, other than they will probably be expecting to see Mephisto in maybe like a room 3 or room 6. And so since I won't be having them there, maybe it can upset their offensive strategy a little bit, as most of what I think we'll see is Mephisto in one of those other two rooms. And so that's my first thoughts on the reason to run Orcus Mephisto in room 4. Now, stage 5 is just confirmation that somebody in Scopely really likes mutants, and I think we keep saying this because we are going to have Professor X coming soon. So, stage 5, Resurrection Protocols. Mutant characters on spawn gain revive once in immunity. We'll start with Dorky, and Dorky is saying just don't put a lot of effort into this room. Don't force your extreme in here. And I understand that. And he came up with an idea of throwing Cap in there. You guys definitely check out his video on that. It's a strong concept. Updog is also saying extreme. I like his ideas. He has 2 different extremes, but the first one where you kind of use Sunspot, check out his infograph. I think this is just using Nightcrawler is just something he's throwing out there. But in most cases, I think he would suggest you keep Nightcrawler on offense. Dorky definitely suggests keeping Nightcrawler on offense. And I would suggest keeping Nightcrawler on offense. The added twist is Updog is saying you could use your Astro with Black Knight because you do have 2 mutants here. So that's something to keep in mind if you want to take advantage of what the mutants or the room rules are for this particular room. So I'm just going to go with this basic team. They're not really built up. I think they're all level 100. It could be have Rogue a little bit higher, maybe Rogue Gambit, but I think overall this whole team is level 100. And I want to say Cyclops and Sunspot are both still G18. And the idea is just I'd like to take advantage of the room rules as much as I can. If this turns out to be just a real easy team to beat, then I probably will try that Mighty Avengers with the Morgan Le Fay and Quicksilver in here. But starting off, we'll just see if this has any chance of dragging down efficiency and not being like a super high 68, 69, or 70 type wins. That's the idea, just to see how the room rules work in actual gameplay. And also to keep mutants, X-Men in particular, on the brain, as we really don't know who else is going to get reworks as we get closer to having Professor X. And so just trying to keep in mind that there's ways to keep on combinating. There's a lot of mutants, there's a lot of X-Men, and if Professor X has an X-Men tag or not, which I would think he probably would, then there may be some unique ways to put a defense together and still have like this Phoenix Force on offense and Nightcrawler on offense or defense, however it's going to go, and Immortal X-Men on offense, and just really make a strong defensive X-Men team. So that's kind of my hope, just to see if I can keep on coming up with ideas for some of the other X-Men that are still down my roster. As you see, I do have them on the side. I think I've had them up here the whole time. But we have so many more, and we don't know who else is going to come into the mix, or even if any of these old tunes could possibly just one instead of another one on here make a difference. And that's just kind of my thought process behind it. But it's nothing special to this room, just real basic. And I think anything we put in here is going to be about the same. It's just trying to get a few points less on efficiency no matter what we put in here. So last but not least, we have stage 6. All characters on spawn generate 5 ultimate ability energy. On ultimate ability use, apply ability block to all allies. And so I think that both guys here, and I'm just kind of recapping both guys because ultimately you've seen some of the differences I've made in my suggestions, and you're seeing how I'm going with some of the same things that they're talking about. But here they have very different ideas. And I think it'd be important to kind of watch what Dorky is saying on his room 6, because he's talking about a Mephisto Kahuri type defense. And I think Updog is looking at a Scroll Annihilators. Both have Annihilators as some options. Updog does have in his infograph Night Stalkers and Orcus, and I think those are options. I would not look at those two as primary options, but I could see them doing fairly well in this room. And so these are things to think about when you're putting together your defense. I think overall, you don't necessarily have to look at this as like, this is the anchor, this is the must-be-all room. And you can still have a balance, so you don't have to stress yourself to make this room so overpowered that the other rooms don't come close as being like equal or some type of balance going from 1 to 6. And so just kind of keep that in mind when you're putting together this room. I do think you want this room to be the strongest, but it doesn't have to be like a mile higher stronger. It could be maybe head and shoulders stronger, but you don't want it to be just so upside down to the other rooms that it's clear that you're banking on this room as opposed to the rest. So here's another defense I think we've seen a lot, especially in war, but we were running something like this, I think, a while back in CC, and it was either with Dorm and Doom, Dorm and or Doom, and I think we did some different things where we had Guardians sometimes. But as I start remembering more about what those exact rooms were and which ones did the best, I think it's going to still be based on Annihilator 3-piece and probably Scroll. And I do like the idea of Scroll in here because he's going to get his old turn 1. And that causes problems. I went out and got a 3-diamond Scroll, and I had no idea it was going to be a room like this, but it's like it's time to take him 3 diamonds. In Dorm, this is where he can come in handy. Also, this is where Doom could come in handy. It's just ways to kind of trip guys up. They're used to what they're used to going into this room, and so maybe those counters don't work the exact same way. Maybe they can still work, or maybe they fail because the advantage is on the defensive side at this particular time. And so that's just my thought process here. And like I said, a lot of this can change. These are just first thoughts. But for the moment, I like the Dorm Scroll version to go to Annihilators in Room 6.